So let's talk about console shortages. As far as most people are concerned, PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series, there are these mythical devices that seemingly exist out there. Legends say that they can produce awesome graphics with RTX and all these things. It's just, they're so hard to find, and even over a year after their launch, I mean, it feels like console shortages have been worse than ever, and, it's not as if console shortages are uncommon, especially during the launch year, but the chip shortage situation has only exacerbated the issue, combined with the fact that scalpers have only gotten better at scalping, with software having improved to snatch these consoles up the second they go up online, and it's just been a struggle for the masses to find any one of these consoles. And with the holidays approaching, things are only bound to get worse. The rush to get their hands on one of these will just be all the worse. And I wish I could say that things will improve in the coming months and in the next year or so, but it would seem as though this whole situation is only going to get worse before it gets better. Now, one way to really spotlight how bad the shortages have gotten, especially where Xbox is concerned, is by looking at the following tweet from Twitter user Tashi, who detailed how even Xbox is having trouble finding retail Xboxes. So there was a tournament for Halo Infinite that was recently hosted, and because Xbox itself couldn't find Xboxes to use for the tournament, they actually had to use development kits. This is no joke. Here's the tweet by Tashi that relayed this, and he is the Halo esports and viewership lead at Microsoft and 343 Industries. So this is someone who officially works for Xbox who's relaying this. Heads up, open bracket players, you'll be playing this weekend on Series X development consoles. They're functionally identical and will be operating in retail mode, so it's the exact same experience, they just look a little different. Why? Global supply chain shortage is real, and unfortunately it has continued to be real and will continue to be real for a while longer. Now, to give you an idea for how that would look like, there is an image here posted by Twitter user Cornbread, and clicking on the image will reveal what the dev kits look like. They basically look like chunkier Xbox One X's versus the retail unit, which has more of that fridge-like appearance. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of these at that Halo tournament, a combination of these and this final look for the console itself. And you really know a shortage situation is as bad as it can get when the company, the multi-billion-dollar company that actually makes the consoles, is struggling to find enough to host even a tournament, resorting to development kits that functionally identical, they claim, and I'm sure that's actually true. But still, if you just wanted some idea as to how long it'll be before it'll be easy to pick an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 for that matter off of store shelves, that moment won't arrive for a while longer, and these consoles will remain mythical and legendary in status as people continue to struggle to get their hands on one of these. And the thing is, it's been relayed multiple times in the past that shortages could not only go well into 2022, but even 2023, as reported by Kotaku here in their article, whose headline reads, "Continued Xbox shortages force Microsoft to use dev kits in latest Halo tournament." Scrolling down, you'll find some information about what other companies like Intel have relayed. Tech giants like Intel suggested that the chip shortage could continue to cause problems well into 2023, and layer that on top of the fact that scalpers are continuing to use bots to scoop up the few consoles that do appear online, and the fact that both Sony and Microsoft have expressed the difficulty in meeting demand because of shortages that diminish supply. And we've got a situation where even in 2022, it will remain hard and frustrating to buy a PS5 or Xbox Series X at retail price. You can obviously still go to eBay and basically pay twice as much as you normally would for these consoles. But yeah, that's kind of the only solution for holiday buyers, holiday shoppers who are looking to acquire these consoles without much issue to give to their loved ones during Christmas and other celebratory periods during this time of year. There are even stories out there of how people in privileged positions who helped make a game are even struggling to buy a console to play the game that they helped make, like how back in September of 2021, the Deathloop actor who played the protagonist, Jason Kelly, who voices Colt, had to get help from Bethesda so he could acquire a PS5 to play the game that he's in. Even in December of 2021, as the year closes out, we're still seeing articles about how it still sucks to get a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. And the picture only gets uglier when you consider that in the month prior, on November of 2021, Sony straight up said, in all honesty and bluntly, that they're making even fewer PlayStation 5s due to component shortages. In an investors conference call that was hosted on October 28th, 2021, Chief Financial Officer CFO Hiroki Totoki relayed that logistic issues and part shortages have grown more severe for Sony, and in turn they're struggling even more than they have already been at meeting the demand by supplying enough PlayStation 5s for the market. And other reasons cited by this Bloomberg article include uneven vaccine rollouts across developing nations where Sony suppliers have their production bases have made supplies of chips and parts unpredictable. Assembly partners are in daily contact with component makers to confirm that shipments will arrive as scheduled, which is not always the case. COVID has certainly been a major disruptor, and not just the gaming industry, but across all industries. But where gaming is specifically concerned, not only have development pipelines for video game software been hampered, but production of chips and units, all of that has gone down the crapper because of COVID. And with Omicron, the new branch of COVID, now kicking into full gear, yeah, this situation is just getting extremely frustrating. And unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it. Nature is currently taking its course, and we kind of have to wait until all of that is dealt with, until COVID becomes endemic, before things can start slowly but surely kind of getting back to more normal. But another contributor is that, the demand for chip-based devices, it's only getting higher and higher with every passing year as these technologies become more commonplace. And so all of that combined with COVID is creating this environment. So honestly, if you want to get an Xbox Series or a PlayStation 5, you really have to be on it if you want to get them at retail price. You have to check in on those websites every day. Be there at the ready the second they go up online for online purchase. Or you may have to resort to going to retail stores early and lining up before enough people can get there to snatch up the minimal stock that the various stores are receiving. I mean, even Nintendo is suffering from this, with them having to cut its full year sales forecast for the Switch console family by 1.5 million units in early November. And that's not for lack of selling. I mean, the Nintendo Switch is selling like hotcakes right now, especially in Japan. It is absolutely dominating. Nintendo is also just unable to keep up with the sheer demand. I mean, you go around looking for Switch and Switch OLEDs, they're practically sold out everywhere or hard to find, with Switch Lites being easier to find. But, obviously if you want that TV and portable hybrid experience, you want to get Switch or Switch OLED, and those are just, they're running out everywhere as well. And this is the worst time for scalpers to be so efficient at snatching these units up and sell them for basically twice or more the cost of retail price. And same for Xbox Series. And again, Microsoft itself, the company making these, they're struggling to acquire retail units to use in official events like tournaments. So at that point, the situation is pretty dire. And if Microsoft is struggling, the average customer will certainly struggle in the coming months and possibly years as well, from what the various predictions from myriad companies suggest. So just be ready for that. Either be ready to pay more through the scalpers, or be ready to just stay on point for new units being shipped to various retailers, be it through online purchases or through brick and mortar in-store purchase. Just be on high alert if you're in desperate need for a next-gen console right now. Though, waiting a bit might allow you to get in when the refreshes for these consoles inevitably come in down the line, and at that point, there are going to be a lot more games to play for these consoles, specifically the next-gen exclusive stuff, because right now we're still very much in cross-gen territory. For the most part, we are seeing slowly all of that transition to next-gen only exclusives, but it's still taking some time to get there, so it's not as if there's any need to rush currently. But there are plenty of enthusiasts out there who want to play the latest games in the best state possible with the best graphics and performance. So yeah, just a heads up, just to relay the current situation surrounding console shortages, why it's happening, what's the current state. It seems like it's just as bad as it's always been, if not potentially worse. But while we wait for things to stabilize, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of console shortages and the various causes that are contributing to it, and what your experience has been like trying to acquire an Xbox Series X or S, or a PlayStation 5, or hell, even a Nintendo Switch. Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.